The twins thrived, carrying forward their mother's legacy of strength, integrity, and compassion. And Maya? She had everything she'd ever wanted, not the fairy tale she'd once dreamed of, but something far more valuable, a life built on truth, love, and the courage to stand up for what's right. The soft cries of newborn babies filled the hospital room as Maya held her twin daughters for the first time. They were beautiful, two perfect little girls with their mother's determination already showing in their tiny fists. The labor had been long, but Maya had faced it with the same strength she'd shown throughout her journey. "Welcome to the world, my brave little ones," she whispered, counting their tiny fingers and toes. Her parents stood nearby, tears of joy streaming down their faces. The nurses had already commented on how peaceful the twins were, as if they knew they were finally safe. News of the births spread quickly through the community that had supported Maya throughout her fight. The hospital's reception desk was flooded with flowers and cards. Local business owners, who had stood with her against James's empire, sent tiny handmade gifts for the babies. Maya's recovery room became a symbol of new beginnings. Her family's business was thriving, having emerged from the crisis stronger than ever. The federal investigation into Sterling Industries continued, but Maya's focus was entirely on her daughters now. 6 weeks later, Maya stood at the podium of a business ethics conference, her twins peacefully sleeping in their grandmother's arms nearby. The audience listened intently as she shared her story, not of victory over James, but of the power of community and truth. "Business isn't just about profits," she told them, her voice clear and confident. "It's about building something that makes the world better for our children." The applause that followed wasn't just for her words, it was for everything she represented. The family business underwent a transformation under Maya's leadership. She implemented new policies supporting working parents, remembering her own struggle. The company expanded, but never lost sight of its core values: integrity, community, and compassion. One sunny morning, as Maya sat in her office with one baby snoozing in a carrier while the other played quietly, a letter arrived. It was from an anonymous source within Sterling Industries. James, the letter revealed, had used his remaining assets to secretly establish a foundation supporting single mothers in business, though he never publicly acknowledged it. Maya smiled, tucking the letter away. She didn't need James's redemption story. Her own journey had taught her enough about forgiveness and moving forward. The twins grew into curious, compassionate toddlers, often visiting the store with their mother. Customers loved seeing them topple down the aisles, already showing interest in the family business. Maya made sure they knew their heritage, not just of entrepreneurship, but of standing up for what's right. 5 years after the twins' birth, Maya stood on another stage, accepting an award for ethical business leadership. Her daughters sat in the front row, matching dresses and proud smiles, watching their mother tell their story. "Success isn't measured in dollars," she told the audience. "It's measured in the lives we touch, the communities we build, and the legacy we leave for our children." The family business became a model for corporate responsibility. Maya worked with other companies, sharing her experience and helping them build ethical practices. Her story was taught in business schools as an example of how integrity could triumph over greed. The twins grew up understanding the power of community. They saw it in the customers who had become family friends, in the employees who had stood by their mother, and in the small business owners who still thanked Maya for giving them courage. On the twins' 6th birthday, Maya took them to visit their first store location. As they explored the aisles, she told them the story of their grandfather's dream, their grandmother's recipes, and how love for family had built something stronger than any corporate takeover could destroy. "Mommy," one of her daughters asked, "are you happy the bad man tried to take our store?" Maya knelt down, looking into her daughter's curious eyes. "Sometimes the hardest challenges bring the most beautiful gifts," she answered, hugging both her girls close. "Like you two." The story of Maya and her twins became more than just a tale of business triumph. It became a reminder that true success comes from staying true to your values, fighting for what's right, and believing in the power of community. As she watched her daughters grow, Maya knew that the real happy ending wasn't in defeating James or saving the business. It was in raising two strong girls who understood that wealth isn't measured in money, but in the lives you touch and the good you do in the world. And somewhere in the city, an unmarked foundation continued helping mothers build their dreams, a quiet reminder that sometimes redemption comes in unexpected ways, and that every story has the potential for transformation. That evening, her parents brought dinner, and they sat together, talking about the future. The family business would continue, stronger for having weathered this storm. More importantly, they had shown that standing up for what's right, no matter the cost, was always worth it. As night fell, Maya felt the first real contractions begin. "Perfect timing, little ones," she whispered, reaching for her phone to call her cousin. Even in this moment, the twins were teaching her something about new beginnings and the power of standing strong in the face of adversity. The next chapter was about to begin, not just for Maya and her babies, but for all those who had found their voice through her story. Justice had been served, and with it came the promise of a better tomorrow. The day justice arrived started quietly. Maya was finally back home from the hospital, resting on her couch when breaking news flashed across her TV screen. Federal agents were walking into Sterling Industries headquarters, carrying boxes and documents. Her phone exploded with messages. The investigation had uncovered years of fraudulent practices, insider trading, and corporate espionage. The evidence Maya and others had gathered had opened a floodgate of revelations. "They're searching his offices," her cousin announced, rushing in with her laptop. Live news coverage showed James being escorted out of the building, his perfect composure finally cracking. The man who had tried to destroy her family's legacy was now facing his own moment of truth. Maya watched, one hand resting on her 8-month pregnant belly, as reporters detailed the charges. The twins were unusually quiet, as if they too were absorbing the magnitude of the moment. Years of James's carefully hidden schemes were being exposed to daylight. Former employees started coming forward in droves. Each story was worse than the last: falsified documents, threatened families, destroyed livelihoods. Maya's case had given them the courage to speak up, and now the truth couldn't be contained. The Sterling Industries board called an emergency meeting. Within hours, news broke that James had been forced to step down as CEO. The company's stock plummeted as investors rushed to distance themselves from the scandal. Maya's cousin brought in tea and settled beside her on the couch. "How are you feeling?" she asked softly, watching Maya's face for signs of stress. "Relieved," Maya answered honestly. "Not just for us, but for everyone he's hurt." The twins kicked gently, as if in agreement. The evidence Maya had gathered proved crucial. Her careful documentation of James's deception, combined with records from other victims, painted a clear picture of systematic fraud. The federal investigators praised her thoroughness. James's empire began crumbling piece by piece. Banks froze accounts. Partners pulled out of deals. The man who had seemed invincible was suddenly very vulnerable. Maya's family business, meanwhile, thrived. The publicity had brought new customers, and their commitment to ethical business practices resonated with people tired of corporate greed. They began expanding, but this time on their own terms. The most surprising development came from within Sterling Industries itself. Longtime employees, freed from James's influence, reached out to Maya's legal team. They wanted to make things right, to rebuild the company's reputation through honest business practices. One evening, as Maya reviewed the latest updates with her cousin, she felt a different kind of movement from the twins. "They're getting ready," her doctor had said at the last checkup. "These babies have perfect timing." The headlines kept coming. James's personal assets were frozen, more charges were filed. Former business partners sued for damages. The man who had tried to destroy Maya's world was watching his own collapse. But Maya found no joy in his downfall. Instead, she focused on healing, both for herself and the business community he had harmed. She started working with small business advocacy groups, sharing her story to help others protect themselves. The federal investigation revealed something even more shocking. James had used similar tactics with other pregnant women, seeing them as vulnerable targets. This discovery led to additional charges and sparked a nationwide discussion about pregnancy discrimination in corporate America. Maya's hospital room had become a symbol of resistance. People still sent letters and cards, now sharing stories of how her courage had inspired them to stand up to corporate bullying in their own communities. As her due date approached, Maya reflected on the journey. The twins moved beneath her hands, strong and healthy despite everything. She had protected not just her family's legacy, but helped create a safer business world for her children to grow up in. The final blow to James's empire came from an unexpected source. His own mentor, a respected business leader, went public with a scathing condemnation. "What he did to Maya and countless others represents everything wrong with corporate greed," the statement read. Maya watched the sunset from her bedroom window, feeling oddly peaceful. Justice had come, not through vengeance, but through truth. The twins were active tonight, perhaps sensing the closure in their mother's heart. Even some of Sterling Industries' board members began questioning James's leadership. The company's stock price dropped as investors worried about potential lawsuits and reputation damage. Maya's doctor noticed her blood pressure improving as public support grew. "Your babies are teaching you something," she said wisely. "Sometimes the biggest battles are won by bringing people together, not fighting alone." The movement grew beyond anyone's expectations. Small business associations across the country began examining their members' experiences with large corporations. Maya's story sparked a national conversation about corporate ethics and community values. Late one night, as Maya watched the city lights from her hospital window, she felt the twins moving gently. "Look what we started," she whispered to them. "Sometimes the best way to fight darkness is to help others find their light." The next morning brought news that federal investigators were looking into Sterling Industries' business practices. Maya's small act of resistance had sparked something much bigger than herself, a movement for change that would protect countless other families from experiencing what she had endured. As she read another batch of supportive messages, Maya realized that what had started as her personal fight had become something far more important. It wasn't just about saving her family's business anymore, it was about standing up for what was right and showing others they could do the same. The twins kicked energetically, as if agreeing. Maya smiled, placing her hand on her belly. "That's right, little ones," she said softly. "Sometimes the biggest changes start with the smallest acts of courage." The morning everything changed started with a single tweet. A former Sterling Industries employee shared Maya's story, adding their own experience of workplace bullying and unethical practices. Within hours, it went viral. #StandWithMaya began trending, unleashing a flood of similar stories. Maya watched from her hospital bed as the movement grew. People gathered outside Sterling Industries headquarters with handmade signs. Local news crews captured small business owners sharing their own experiences with James's predatory tactics. "Your story gave us courage," read one message from a family-owned bakery that had barely survived a similar takeover attempt. "We're not alone anymore." The hospital staff became her unexpected allies. Nurses brought her updates between rounds, cheering each new development. One evening shift nurse confided that her brother had lost his restaurant to Sterling Industries' aggressive tactics 3 years ago. Maya's doctor finally allowed her to sit up in a recliner, but insisted on constant monitoring. The twins were stable but active, responding to their mother's emotions as the situation intensified. "They're already joining the fight," the doctor joked, watching the movement on the monitor. Local businesses started putting up posters supporting Maya's family's company. The community rallied, with customers deliberately choosing their stores over bigger chains. Sales actually increased, proving James's claims about their financial struggles were lies. Then came the breakthrough. A former Sterling Industries executive reached out through Maya's legal team. "I can't stay silent anymore," they said. "I have documents proving systematic targeting of family businesses. James Sterling's entire empire is built on destroying people's dreams." The evidence was damning. Internal memos revealed a pattern of deception, including James's tendency to use personal relationships for business advantage. Maya wasn't his first target, just the first one to fight back effectively. Media coverage shifted dramatically. Business journals that had initially questioned Maya's motives now ran investigative pieces about Sterling Industries' practices. Women's organizations highlighted the pregnancy discrimination angle, drawing even more attention to the case. Maya's cousin coordinated with journalists, ensuring the story stayed focused on the bigger picture. "This isn't just about one company," she told reporters. "It's about protecting small businesses everywhere from predatory practices." Support groups formed online, connecting victims of corporate bullying. Maya's story became a symbol of resistance against big business corruption. People shared their own experiences using #SmallBusinessStrong, creating a powerful narrative of community versus corporate greed. From her hospital room, Maya participated in video interviews, her calm dignity in the face of adversity winning more supporters. The twins seemed to know when she was on camera, staying perfectly still during recordings but dancing up a storm afterward. James's attempts to discredit her backfired spectacularly. When he suggested she was emotionally unstable, women's rights groups organized protests. His claims about the pregnancy being fake were met with medical professionals publicly defending Maya's integrity. The turning point came when a group of small business owners filed a class action lawsuit against Sterling Industries, inspired by Maya's courage. Their stories painted a picture of systematic destruction of local businesses across the country. Maya's parents were overwhelmed by the community's response. Their stores became gathering points for supporters, with customers sharing stories of how the family business had touched their lives over the years. One day, a package arrived at the hospital. Hundreds of letters from people Maya had never met. "You're fighting for all of us," one read. "Stay strong." The nurses helped her hang them around her room, creating a wall of solidarity. Maya's world turned upside down when James launched his most vicious attack yet. She woke up to her phone buzzing non-stop, messages, calls, and news alerts flooding in. A prominent business website had published a damaging article, questioning not just her competence but her character. Sources close to Sterling Industries suggest the pregnancy might be fabricated for sympathy, the article claimed. Maya's hands shook as she read further. James had gone on record saying he had serious doubts about being the father, painting her as a manipulative gold digger. Her cousin burst into her bedroom, still in pajamas. "Don't read any more," she warned, but it was too late. Maya had already seen the photos, carefully selected shots making her look unstable, including one of her crying after a particularly difficult doctor's appointment. The stress hit her hard. Sharp pains shot through her abdomen and her vision blurred. The next thing she knew, she was in an ambulance, her cousin holding her hand tightly. "The babies," Maya whispered, terror gripping her heart. The hospital lights were too bright, the machines too loud. The doctor's face was serious as she examined Maya. "Your blood pressure is dangerously high," she explained. "We need to keep you here for observation." From her hospital bed, Maya watched as James's accusations spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with speculation. Some defended her, but others gleefully shared old photos, analyzing her behavior for signs of deception. Her parents arrived, faces drawn with worry. Her father's hands trembled as he held hers. "We can stop fighting," he suggested gently. "The business isn't worth your health or my grandchildren." But Maya knew giving up wasn't an option. From her hospital room, she dictated a statement to her legal team. No accusations, no anger, just facts. Medical records proving her pregnancy, documentation of James's involvement in her prenatal care, and evidence of his business dealings. The twins moved restlessly, responding to her stress. The monitor tracking their heartbeats filled the room with steady rhythms. A nurse noticed Maya watching the screen anxiously and smiled. "Those are two strong babies you've got there," she said. "They're fighters, just like their mama." Days passed in the hospital. Maya's room became an unofficial office, with her cousin coordinating their defense between medical checks. Support poured in from unexpected places. Former employees James had wronged sent letters. Customers shared stories of how her family's business had helped their communities. One evening, as Maya watched the sunset from her hospital window, a cleaning lady paused in her doorway. "My daughter showed me your story," she said quietly. 20 years ago, Mr. Sterling's company took over my husband's small construction business. We lost everything. Thank you for standing up to him." These moments gave Maya strength, but James wasn't done. His legal team filed motions to freeze company assets, claiming potential fraud. They demanded Maya undergo paternity testing, a move designed to humiliate her publicly. The stress triggered more complications. Maya's doctor ordered complete bed rest. "Your babies need you to slow down," she insisted. "The fight can wait." But the fight came to her. One afternoon, James himself appeared in her hospital room, looking perfectly polished in an expensive suit. "This has gone far enough," he said smoothly. "Think about the babies. Sign over the company and this all goes away." Maya looked at him, really looked at him, and felt nothing but pity. "You still don't understand," she said quietly. "This was never about money. It's about something you can't buy, integrity." That night, alone in her hospital room, Maya felt the twins moving strongly. She placed her hands on her belly, feeling their kicks. A nurse had left a small ultrasound photo on her bedside table, two perfect little profiles, peaceful despite the chaos around them. Maya made a decision. She called her legal team. "We're changing strategy," she announced. "No more defense. It's time to show everyone exactly who James Sterling is." Her cousin looked worried. "Are you sure? He'll come at us with everything he has." Maya looked at the ultrasound photo and smiled. "Let him try. Some things are worth fighting for, and he just helped me remember what they are." As she drifted off to sleep that night, monitors beeping softly around her, Maya felt strangely peaceful. Tomorrow would bring more battles, but tonight she had everything she needed. Her babies safe beneath her heart, her family's love, and the knowledge that she was doing the right thing. The night shift nurse peeked in, checking her vitals. "Rest easy," she whispered, adjusting Maya's blanket. "You've got an army of people rooting for you." And she was right. Though Maya couldn't see it yet, her story was about to inspire a movement bigger than she'd ever imagined. As she drifted off to sleep that night, her hands protectively over her belly, Maya realized something important. This struggle wasn't just about saving a business, it was about protecting a legacy of integrity for her children. The path ahead would be challenging, but with every kick from the twins, she knew she had all the strength she needed. Maya woke up early, her determination stronger than ever. The morning sunlight streamed through her curtains as she gently touched her growing belly. "Good morning, little ones," she whispered. The twins responded with their usual morning kicks, giving her the strength she needed to face another day. Her kitchen table had transformed into a command center, laptops, documents, and empty teacups scattered everywhere. Her cousin had moved in temporarily to help with the legal battle, sleeping on the couch and working around the clock. "I found something," her cousin announced, walking in with fresh coffee. "James's company has a pattern of targeting family-owned businesses. They create financial pressure, then swoop in as saviors. But this time, they didn't count on us fighting back." Maya nodded, remembering her father's words about their company's strong foundation. While reviewing financial reports, she discovered their business was actually performing better than ever. James's claims about saving them were completely false. The pregnancy was getting more challenging. Her doctor had warned about stress, but Maya couldn't slow down. She started taking short walks during lunch breaks, talking to the twins about her plans. "We're going to show everyone what real strength looks like," she'd tell them. One afternoon, while gathering evidence at the office, Maya discovered old emails showing James had started planning the takeover even before they met. The charity gala where they'd first connected wasn't a coincidence. He'd orchestrated the whole thing. The revelation hit her hard. In the office bathroom, she broke down for the first time since everything started. But then she felt those familiar kicks. "Thank you, babies," she smiled through tears. "You're right, no more crying." Her parents were incredible through it all. Her mother brought homemade meals to her office, while her father worked tirelessly with longtime employees who'd pledged their support. The business wasn't just making money, it was changing lives, providing jobs and opportunities to hundreds of families. Maya's investigative work uncovered more than just James's scheme. She found a network of small business owners who'd faced similar tactics from Sterling Industries. Many were too afraid to speak up, but Maya reached out, building alliances. One night, while working late, she received an unexpected visit from James's former secretary. "I can't stay long," the woman said nervously, "but you need to see these." She handed over documents showing James had used similar romantic deceptions before to gain business advantages. The stress was taking its toll. At 6 months pregnant, Maya's blood pressure was concerning her doctors. She started working from home more, converting her living room into an office. Her cousin brought in a comfortable recliner, insisting she put her feet up while reviewing documents. Local media started picking up the story. Instead of hiding, Maya decided to face it head-on. She gave an interview to a respected business journal, laying out the facts about their company's success and James's predatory practices. Support came from unexpected places. Customers started posting signs in their windows, "We stand with family business." Former employees of companies James had taken over began sharing their stories online. The narrative was shifting. Maya's legal team grew as more lawyers offered their services, many working pro bono after hearing her story. They discovered irregularities in James's financial reports that could interest federal investigators. One morning, Maya felt unusual movement from the twins. Her doctor ordered bed rest, but she refused to stop working. Her team set up video conferences, and she coordinated their efforts from home. "Your mommy's not giving up," she'd tell her belly, "and neither should you." The company's board called an emergency meeting. James expected them to cave under pressure, but Maya had prepared well. She presented evidence of their strong financial position and his deceptive practices. The board voted unanimously to reject his takeover attempt. That evening, exhausted but happy, Maya sat in her favorite chair, looking at the sunset. Her phone was full of congratulatory messages, but the most meaningful came from a young employee. "Thank you for showing us that doing the right thing matters." She felt the twins moving again, more gentle now. "We did it, little ones," she whispered. "We showed them what we're made of." The battle wasn't over. James wouldn't give up easily, but Maya had found her strength. It wasn't in fighting against something, but in standing up for what she believed in. One evening, exhausted from another day of battles, Maya found an unexpected gift at her door. A small box containing 2 tiny baby booties and a note, "Remember what really matters." It was from her mother, who'd been staying strong despite watching her life's work threatened. Maya placed the booties on her nightstand and opened her laptop. She had a company to save, a legacy to protect, and 2 little lives depending on her. The fairy tale was over, but maybe this was the story she was meant to tell, one of strength, resilience, and the power of choosing truth over easy promises. As she worked late into the night, the city lights twinkling outside her window, Maya felt something she hadn't expected: peace. The path ahead would be hard, but at least now she could see it clearly. The real betrayal would have been staying silent. The evening that changed everything started like any other. Maya sat at her favorite restaurant, absently stirring her water with lemon while waiting for James. Her hand rested on her slightly swollen belly. She was showing now, and the twins made their presence known with little flutters that still amazed her. James had been acting strange lately. More phone calls behind closed doors, mysterious meetings, and a new tension in his shoulders. She'd brushed it off as wedding stress or business pressure, but something felt off. The waiter had just refilled her water for the 3rd time when her phone buzzed. A message from her cousin who worked in legal services. "Maya, call me ASAP. It's about Sterling Industries." Before she could dial, another message popped up, this time from James. "Meeting running late. Rain check on dinner?" Her heart sank. 3rd cancellation this week. Something wasn't right. Back at her apartment, Maya kicked off her heels and opened her laptop. The twins were especially active tonight, as if sensing her unease. She started going through some work emails when a mysterious unmarked envelope caught her eye. It must have been slipped under her door. Inside, she found documents that made her blood run cold. Financial reports, secret meetings, corporate strategies, all pointing to one devastating truth. James Sterling wasn't just the man she loved. He was orchestrating a hostile takeover of her family's business. The papers trembled in her hands as pieces started falling into place. The excessive interest in her father's business philosophy, the detailed questions about their expansion plans, the recent board meetings he'd encouraged her to skip, it had all been calculated. Her phone rang. Her cousin. "Maya, I had to tell you. Sterling Industries filed paperwork today. They're making a move on your family's company. They've been buying shares through shell companies for months." The room spun. Maya rushed to the bathroom, morning sickness returning with a vengeance. As she splashed cold water on her face, her engagement ring caught the light. The symbol of love now felt like a mark of betrayal. She spent the night digging deeper, her marketing background helping her connect dots she'd missed before. James had used their relationship to gather insider information. Every dinner with her parents, every casual conversation about business, he'd been gathering ammunition. The next morning, she walked into her office early, determined to protect what her parents had built. But there was James, sitting in her chair like he owned the place. His smile, once charming, now seemed predatory. "You weren't supposed to find out this way," he said softly, holding up a copy of the same documents she'd received. "Business is business, Maya. Nothing personal." She laughed. A hollow sound that surprised even her. Nothing personal. I'm carrying your children, James. We're supposed to get married in 3 months. The merger can still happen amicably, he continued, as if discussing the weather. Your family keeps minority shares, everyone saves face. It's the best outcome for everyone. Maya's hands gripped her desk until her knuckles turned white. Get out, she whispered, then louder, get out. As security escorted him from the building, James called back, think about it, Maya. Think about our future, the twins' future. That night, alone in her apartment, Maya felt the twins move again. She placed both hands on her belly and made them a promise. We don't need him. We're stronger than this. She spent hours calling board members, rallying support. Her father's voice broke when she told him the truth, but his words gave her strength. We built this company on trust and family values. No amount of money can buy that. The next few days passed in a blur of legal meetings and strategy sessions. James launched a PR campaign painting himself as a savior of a struggling family business, conveniently leaving out that the business was thriving until his interference. The media caught wind of the story. Billionaire's pregnant fiancée fights back became headline news. James's team spread rumors about her mental state, suggesting pregnancy hormones were making her irrational. But Maya stayed focused. She gathered evidence of James's unethical practices, documented every conversation, every email. The twins became her strength. Every kick reminded her what she was fighting for. Maya stood at her bathroom sink, staring at the 2 pink lines on the pregnancy test with trembling hands. Her heart raced as she slid down against the cool tile wall, a mix of joy and nervous energy washing over her. Not just 1 baby, but 2. The doctor had confirmed it last week. Twins. The word still felt surreal on her tongue. Life had a funny way of surprising you, she thought. Just 6 months ago, she was completely focused on climbing the corporate ladder at her marketing firm, pulling late nights and pushing through weekends. Then came that fateful charity gala where she literally bumped into James Sterling, spilling champagne all over his custom-made Italian suit. Instead of getting angry, he had laughed, a warm, genuine sound that made his eyes crinkle at the corners. I've been looking for an excuse to get out of this stuffy suit anyway, he had said, dabbing at the stain with a napkin. There was something disarming about how this billionaire, known for his sharp business acumen and vast real estate empire, could be so down to earth. Their conversation that night flowed effortlessly, jumping from their shared love of old jazz music to their similar humble beginnings. James had built his fortune from scratch, just like Maya's parents had built their family business. A chain of organic grocery stores that had become a beloved fixture in their community. You're different from the usual people at these events, he had told her, his dark eyes studying her face with genuine interest. Everyone else is trying so hard to impress, but you're just real. That night turned into breakfast the next morning, which led to more dates, each one making Maya feel like she was living in a dream. James would surprise her with simple gestures, bringing her favorite coffee during lunch breaks, leaving funny notes in her coat pocket, or showing up at her office with takeout when she worked late. Their worlds merged seamlessly. He took her sailing on his yacht, but also enjoyed the simple pleasure of cooking dinner together in her small apartment. When they visited her parents' first store location, he spent hours talking to her father about business philosophy and her mother's secret recipes. The pregnancy news came as a shock to both of them. Maya had always wanted children but worried about the timing. She was just about to lead a major marketing campaign for her family's business expansion. But James's reaction melted all her fears away. "This is perfect," he had whispered, holding her close as happy tears rolled down her cheeks. "You're perfect." That same evening, he asked her to marry him under the stars on his penthouse terrace, promising to love her and their babies forever. Maya touched her still flat stomach, smiling at the memory. The media had gone crazy with the news of their engagement, the billionaire real estate mogul and the marketing executive from a family-owned business. Some tabloids tried to paint her as a gold digger, but James fiercely defended her, even calling out reporters who crossed the line. Their wedding planning was in full swing now. James insisted on a winter ceremony, saying he wanted to see her walk down the aisle with their babies as part of the celebration. Everything seemed perfect, almost too perfect. Maya pulled herself up from the bathroom floor, tucking the pregnancy test into her drawer as a keepsake. She had a meeting with her family's board of directors today to discuss the expansion plans. Her morning sickness had finally settled down, and she was ready to throw herself back into work. As she dressed for the day, selecting a flowing blouse that would soon need to be replaced with maternity wear, her phone buzzed with a message from James. "Missing my 3 favorites already. Dinner tonight? I have something important to discuss about the future." Little did Maya know that dinner would change everything. The perfect fairy tale was about to take an unexpected turn, testing her strength in ways she never imagined. But for now, she typed back a loving reply, her heart full of hope and dreams for their future together. The sun streamed through her bedroom window as she gathered her presentation materials, casting a golden glow across the room. Maya took one last look in the mirror, straightened her shoulders, and smiled. She was ready to take on the world, for herself, for her babies, and for the beautiful future she believed lay ahead. She stepped out into the bright morning, unaware that the real story was just beginning. The truth about James Sterling and his true intentions was still hidden beneath layers of charm and promises, waiting to emerge and shake the very foundation of the life she thought she was building.